Hello everybody, I'm trapped in a locker, and today's actually a very special video. So if you've been watching my channel up until this point, you've probably seen that I have skipped out on a few towers for the Chimps mode challenges I've been doing. The towers being the Glue Gunner, the Ice Monkey, and the Alchemist. Well, the reason for that is that those three towers alone cannot beat BTD6 on Chimps mode. As you're seeing here, even with Etienne's camo buff, the Glue Gunners can't beat 95. And as you can imagine, that's kind of a problem because then I can't go past 95. So, what could I do about that? Well, there's not much I could really do about it. The biggest problem with Glue Gunners is a lack of camo detection just innately for them. So I couldn't bring in Sada for the extra damage. I wouldn't be able to do anything with her. She would be hard carrying the camo, and unfortunately, this isn't a map built for that. Next up, we have the Ice Monkey, who has a much different disadvantage than the Glue Monkey in that it doesn't attack Moab class balloons unless it is the tier 5s or the top path tier 4. And as you can imagine, that's not exactly what you want to see on rounds like 100, because that means that Sada or whatever hero you pick is going to basically be hard carrying for the bad damage. And again, this is not a good map for that setup. Now, I understand that Sada has had a 2TC on the balance map, but balance doesn't really help because it doesn't have a lot of space. Plus, that 2TC took her to level 20, and she doesn't usually get to level 20 in challenges like this, given that Logs is a beginner map and she doesn't get as much experience. Even with better usage of the abilities to actually get some more damage off on the bad, it still doesn't really work that well because the absolute zero freeze only does 100 damage, and the tier 4 version only winds up doing 1 damage. And then finally, we come to the Alchemist, who has a similar problem to the Glue Gunners in that it has a lack of camo detection, but it also has a unique problem where you don't want to ever use the bottom path tier 5 because that's going to completely destroy your money income for Chimps mode. So even with a very conservative thought of only going to tier 3, you can see we're still not even remotely close to being done here. And then even once that pops, it'll be relying on Sada to beat the DDTs, which, as we've seen, is not really a great option. And that was just testing on round 100. As you're about to see, the fact that they can't pop camo means that they are basically useless on round 95. Even with a little bit better ability usage, they still won't be able to defeat the 95 DDT rush. So that leads us into our final Chimps run. So this is significantly different from my previous runs, where we will be having 3 towers, but I will not be using all 3 paths. I will only be using one path from each. I have restricted each one to its own path, and I've allowed myself a little squadron of the total transformation guys for the alchemist. The ice monkey is locked into the bottom path, the glue gunner is locked into the top path, and the alchemist is locked into the middle path. I thought that that would be the most balanced way of doing this, and since I couldn't get it to win with Perma Brew and Glue Storm, I decided to switch my alchemist and my glue gunner to something a little bit more manageable, if even if it's not nearly as good. I think it's really interesting you can have glue and the potion from the alchemist active at the same time. Alright, now that we have our little monkey army, we're going to start upgrading them all. Now, I plan on getting the um, Icicle Impale before anything else, because that is kind of essential given that we will be severely lacking in Moab damage for a while. And I think it would be better to worry about that before we start worrying about anything else. Alright, so as you guys just saw, the Moab got a little bit farther along the track than we probably would have wanted it to. And that's why we're going to go for the Icicle Impale as our first Tier 5 over the Balloon Solver. While the Balloon Solver could easily handle round 63 and probably some of the other rounds after that as well, I think having that extra bit of Moab damage would be significantly more handy than just relying solely on the Balloon Solver. Plus, Icicles also makes pretty good work of round 63, as you'll see later on. Some of these are getting pretty far, but they could just be my placement of Sada's targeting priority. Alright, and we got the Icicle Impale. And we managed to get it before 63 as well. That's going to come in handy a lot in the mid 60s to late 80s. And even beyond that with all of the Moabs and everything. So from here, we're still going to be skipping getting the transformation ability for the Alchemist. And we're just going to go straight for Balloon Solver. Because with round 76 coming up, I feel like I need that backup plan just in case. I actually like this setup because the Unstable Concoction has a really nice synergy with the Icicle Impale, as you guys just saw, stacking everything up together and then just dealing a massive amount of damage all at once. It's surprisingly satisfying. Alright, we absolutely got lucky on round 76 because I didn't expect the ability to hit that. But we finally have Balloon Solver, so we won't have any more of those massive swarms like we just saw that we will. And now we only have one more thing to do, and that is to get the mid-path tier 5 for the Alchemist and create a little squadron of buddies for him to use.
Get that ZOMG! Sleeping sword!
Alright, and with the final tier 5 set, we're going to turn all these other little alchemist guys into 0/2/2s, because I think that's probably the best cross path in terms of damage for the alchemist. And all we really have to do now is just play it out and hope we don't die anytime soon.
Clean cuts and still cuts a tomato. DDT! I got this! Clean cuts and still cuts a tomato. Clean cuts and still cuts a tomato. What's next?
I'm choosing to buy another unstable concoction just so we have a little bit extra going on, so that way I can have 2 Moabs covered at once, or possibly more, and do as much damage as possible.
Cool! Hey! Clean cuts and still cuts a tomato.
Alright, looks like 98's going down without much problems. And 99 looks like it's going down surprisingly well too. So that's it. That's the entire run. These are the only 3 towers that could not beat Chimps mode on their own. But putting them together, they can pretty easily take Chimps mode. I think overall this was a pretty average challenge. I mean, there wasn't much for me to say throughout it. It's not like I gained any sort of new respect for these towers like I did with the Spike Tower, but I definitely think this was a pretty decent challenge overall. And that's actually going to be it for the BTD content for a little bit. I will return to it before too long because I do have another video series planned, a small one. And then I want to do another special video to just round everything out. But that probably won't be for a little bit because I need to take a little bit of time away from this game. I've been playing it for a while. So I'm going to jump off of it and finish up Monster Sanctuary and then move on to some other things. So I hope you guys stay around for that.